Later in today's MicroLive, we'll be looking at British Telecom's video text service Prestel and contrasting it with the Teletel system currently being installed in France.
And women in computing, have they had a raw deal? We look at a training course in Cardiff that's redressing the balance.
But first, here's a warning for anyone considering taking out a maintenance contract for computer equipment. Now, you may have received one of these through the mail. It's advertising a company called Computer Hardware Maintenance Limited, or CHM. It says here, while you're reading this now, a computer hardware maintenance engineer is somewhere in the country repairing a computer and ensuring yet another business runs smoothly.
Computer Hardware Maintenance Limited is based on the Kingsbury Trading Estate in North London. It's run by this man, Christopher Sullivan. He previously ran a company called Sullivan's Microcomputers, which offered a similar service. MicroLive has received a number of complaints about both companies.
We have a very large number of customers, and of the number of complaints that you've received, I'm sure it's a small proportion in comparison to the number of clients that we service.
Stan Turner of Essex was one of those clients, and his experience was typical. He's an international accountant who bought a Sirius computer to help with his growing business. In June 1984, he took out a 2-year maintenance agreement with Sullivan's Microcomputers. His contract implied that there would normally be a 24-hour response time and replacement equipment if repairs couldn't be carried out on site. But no engineer ever arrived within 24 hours. Once, Mr. Turner had to wait 13 days. He told us that sometimes just boys turned up to do maintenance, and on one occasion left the system unusable.
Well, we've also spoken to several former CHM employees. One of them, an engineer, told MicroLive that he was owed around £3,500 in unpaid salary. And he claimed that the conditions in the workshop meant that only very simple faults could be repaired. He told us that there were no manuals, no proper tools and no test equipment.
Another ex-employee, Helen Howard, was the purchasing manager. She gave us details of goods and services that she ordered on behalf of CHM that have still not been paid for. And she too is owed money.
But of the several complaints that we've investigated, the most serious is the story of Banham Alarms of London. In November 1985, Banham's office manager, Derek Reeford, asked CHM to supply references from previous customers before signing an agreement himself. Well, CHM eventually supplied him with 3 telephone numbers. The first was for a florist's wholesalers in Cheshire, who had only just signed a contract themselves and so had no experience of CHM service.
The second number purported to be for a company called Lakeland Domestic Services, and Mr. Reeford was told to ask for a Mrs. Mackenzie. He never managed to get through to her, and we've since established that the number he was given was for a private house. It belongs to the parents of CHM's servicing administrator at the time, Julia Rylands.
The final number was 01794 0164, and Mr. Reeford was told that it belonged to a company called Charles Executive. He phoned and spoke to a Mr. Hadidas, who had nothing but praise for CHM. Mr. Reeford was told that Charles Executive had had a maintenance contract for 18 months and had been totally satisfied with the service. As a result, but not without reservations, Mr. Reeford signed.
When we checked out this third number, we discovered that it was not registered to Charles Executive at all, but, surprise, surprise, to Sullivan's sales office. One of the Sullivan staff who was present when Mr. Reeford's call came through told us, "I got the impression this sort of thing was not uncommon. They were very practiced and had obviously done it before."
Can you confirm to me that you gave Banham Alarms 3 references for satisfied customers? The first being Nadine Florists in Cheshire, the second being Lakeland Domestic Services,
yes,
and the third being a company called Charles Executive in London.
I wouldn't be able to confirm that directly because that's all dealt with by our sales department. And when a customer or when a person inquiring into our services requires references, we deal with that through the sales department, obviously, because it's a function of that. I am aware of Nadine's Florist, that they are a site that we use for references in the sense that our competitors also have the same practice, that when people do ask for references, we locate somebody who's happy to do that on a regular basis.
They're still happy to do that, are they?
I would imagine so, yes.
In fact, they're not. In fact, they're considering taking legal action against your company.
Nadine's Florists are not considering taking legal action against the company.
I spoke to them yesterday.
Yes, I've also spoken with them, and as far as I'm aware, at this moment, they are happy.
The reason I'm asking is because when we checked up on those references, first of all, Nadine Flores, as I said, are now a dissatisfied customer. The second number, which purported to be Lakeland Domestic Services, in fact turned out to be Julia Ryland's parents. Julia Ryland's being your previous servicing administrator.
Really, I can't speak about this. I know nothing of it, and it is not.
Well, who would have given out that number as Lakeland Domestic Services?
That is not our practice. Patrick, I don't feel that we should put this sort of thing.
Well, I think it's a fair question. I mean, you gave references to a company.
It's an allegation of fraud. It's an allegation of fraud, and this is the first time that this has been presented to me, and I don't feel that it is reasonable to expect me to make comment on it at all, apart from deny it, of course.
Well, can I just go on to the third number, which you claimed was Charles Executive or somebody from the company?
As I said, I would like to do some research and get back to you either way with what I found out.
Okay, well, we know that these things are true. So if you're saying that you don't know about these things...
Yes, well, I don't feel that I can make comments about this. You realise I could be... this could be a matter for fraud. I thought we were having...
Well, if it's true, it could be a matter for fraud, yes.
I thought we were having a serious discussion.
And that was the last word Mr. Sullivan was prepared to say on film. The door to the workshop was kept locked while our crew was there, and Mr. Sullivan refused to let us film inside.
So, as it says in the CHM leaflet, in the end, your decision will rightly come down to assessing the service computer hardware maintenance gives you. Well, you said it, Mr. Sullivan. Our advice to anyone thinking of taking out a maintenance contract is check whether a company is reputable by calling Computing Services Association on 01 405 2171. That's 01 405 2171.
It's difficult at the best of times to keep up with the fast-moving world of technology, but all the more so if you're a woman with young children.
For the last 5 years I worked as secretary PA for a small family company. And then I got pregnant and my husband moved to Cardiff. So for the last 2 years, my daughter's 2, I haven't done anything at all, apart from this course.
In the docklands of Cardiff, there's a derelict factory that used to turn out Burley bras. Now it's home for a course in information technology. It's run by women for women, and that means it's designed to fit in with the needs of their children.
My reasons for taking up the course in particular was I wanted to bring my skills up to date. And the crash facilities were, you know, very, very important to me. The fact that my daughter was on the premises. I mean, she was just over 1 when I came, so she was quite young. And I think that means a lot to a lot of the women that attend the course.
Molly's children are now both at university, and she hasn't worked outside the home for 20 years. She felt that life and technology were passing her by. After all, when Molly was at school, science was a subject best left to the boys. So, a course with other women with similar apprehensions and standards was appealing. For like many of the others on the course, she was starting from scratch, learning about the hardware as well as the software, and she has a chance to work on her own individual projects.
We've just started on projects which we have to do in our final term. They're for our benefit, so that we can go to potential employers and say that we have covered this and have something constructive to show them. This is about light-emitting diodes. And this is just the very first project in the book. And the light should have lit, but it hasn't. So I'm waiting for Joe.
Right, is it working?
No, it's in the top.
The students attend for 2.5 days a week for a full year, following a wide curriculum to give them the opportunity to taste all areas of electronics and computing. Then, towards the end of the course, each student spends a month at a local firm, turning theory into practice.
To the other side of that middle line, you've got to actually bridge that gap. So if you take the light-emitting diode out and plug it across the gap, it should work.
Jill, who teaches the electronics strand of the course, believes it's short-sighted to teach women just the usual word processing and office skills.
That's on channel 2 of the oscilloscope, and it's over
1.5.
1.5 divisions, so that's
7.5 volts.
7.5 volts, right. Now, when you want to work out the gain to see how well your board has actually amplified the input signal, gain is equal to the output voltage divided by input voltage.
At the moment, there is a 50% shortfall in areas of high specialism and expertise. And if women are to take advantage of these job opportunities, then these sort of courses must teach not only traditional office skills, but also all the other aspects of the new technology.
And at the beginning, you didn't think you would be able to do it. You know, you look at the computer and you think, oh no, you know, this isn't for me. And when they put a soldering iron in your hand, you thought, oh. But now at the end, it seems as if we've always known it. It's just natural now.
South Glamorgan County Council and the EEC have funded the course, but all funding is strictly on the basis that on leaving, the students can and do gain relevant employment. The course has run 2 years and the results are good.
We were very surprised the first year what people did actually manage to get into. Quite a few people went in to become trainers themselves, particularly on youth training scheme kind of jobs. Either they were doing introductory computing or they were doing placement work, trying to help young people find jobs. A few people went in to become trainee programmers. Quite a lot of people went on to various kinds of office work where they were using computers. So they were doing databases or accounts or word processing. Some people went on to sales and others went on to further or higher education in electronics.
Well, since we made that film, the Welsh office has agreed to further finance the creche so that children may stay on there once their mothers start work. And the address to write to for details of similar courses around the country is the Women and Training Unit, Gloucester College of Arts and Technology, Oxtalls Lane, Gloucester, GL2 9HW.